All right, we have the shark brain here. And so what we're going to take a look at is some of the important parts that we can see on the outside. In particular, this large nerve here runs up through the orbit and then branches out up here. It's called the superficial ophthalmic nerve. And we can actually see the trochlear nerve coming through it right there to the superior oblique muscle. If we go deep onto the eye, hard for me to see in the screen as I'm doing this, but there's a nerve that runs alongside the eye here. It's right there. It's called the deep ophthalmic nerve. The hyomandibular nerve is a branch of nerve number 7, and it's here right behind. It appears here right behind the spiracle, but you could follow that all the way up to the branch of where number 7 comes out. The cerebellum is here, and it has the 2 cerebellar hemispheres here with the auricles of the cerebellum on the outside. These are kind of deflated here, but their auricle means ear, and are these flap-like structures on either side of the main body of the cerebellum, or corpus. And then we have the medulla oblongata here, and it's defined by this 4th ventricle. We're not actually seeing the ventricle here because we're seeing a tissue on top of it called the telechoroidea. If you were to break through that, you'd be into the 4th ventricle. So the telechoroidea is easiest to see over the 4th ventricle in the medulla, but there's other ones, particularly over the 3rd ventricle inside of the brain as well. And then the medulla continues backwards as the spinal canal, or spinal cord. Optic lobes, these very large structures in front of the cerebrum are the optic lobes. So you can imagine that vision is very important to a shark. And then we're getting into the 3rd ventricle right back there. And we can actually see its telechoroidea as well. So the 3rd ventricle is actually the hole underneath this, and the telechoroidea is the membrane over the top of it. All right, the cerebral hemispheres are these 2 things on either side. The olfactory tract is right here, and it ends in a bump, which we don't really see too well here, called the olfactory bulb. And then beyond that, in the hole there, that is the olfactory sac. The olfactory nerve we won't see, it's hidden inside of there. Now, occasionally, we can find the nervus terminalis. So it's one of the other cranial nerves, and we're probably not going to see it here, especially since it looks like our olfactory tract is broken off. But it's a little nerve that runs along the inside. You can kind of see a line there, maybe, that's defining that. Obviously not something I'll be able to ask very easily on an exam. Now, the brain itself is covered with membrane. You don't really see that, but you see that red blood vessel. Find where my probe is on the cerebellum. There we go. That blood vessel is inside of the primitive meninx, which is that connective tissue over the surface of the brain.